Peace, family. This is Shofar from Full Show Energy Work.
And this is Kirti from Dil Se Culture.
Peace. And we wanted to talk to y'all today about cocooning. Cocooning is one of the two major phenomena that happen during the energy work sessions. And so, people ask, like, what happens during an energy work session? What can I expect? So we wanted to talk about how the energy affects people, and there's two major themes. So the first one is cocooning, and that's a term, is one of two terms that actually was coined. The first time I heard it was through a guy by the name of Master Yao with the Grand Trine. And so shout out to the Grand Trine and Master Yao. And cocooning is kind of more like the yin version of what can happen during the session, or more feminine or restorative. And then we have ESR, which we'll talk about in another video, which is expanded sensual response. But cocooning, I'd love to hear what you have to say about cocooning. First off, Kirti.
Well, I think that from what I've seen and also what I've experienced myself with cocooning is that it's really a process by which, when we first go into a state of laying down and just breathing and a state of kind of like encouraging nothing but existing, it's almost like a deep haze of rest occurs that it feels almost hypnotic. And what's beautiful about cocooning is that it's really a sign that the client that's on the table, or the practitioner that's on the table, is truly desiring rest. And before we enter into another state, the second state that Shofar was really talking about, the second theme that we see, a lot of times before we get into that state, cocooning does really take place. And it really resembles just a place where the body can go and almost do an internal type of restorative practice that you might be conscious of or you might not be conscious of, but because it is so energy laden on a level that your consciousness might not even be able to relate to, you feel tired and you want to sleep, and you start to go into a sleep state pretty quickly. And then because we are practicing breathing, you waver on that sleep state, and it just feels like a practice of rest. And I think my assumption on why cocooning occurs so often is because a lot of times, if we're going for healing work, we are often dealing with exhaustion on some level, and so we feel, oh man, I need to get a massage, or I want to get a Reiki session, or I want to get an energy healing session, or I'm really feeling the desire to be more essential and more expressed. And you're really at that place because you've probably been exerting a lot of energy trying to bring that in, and you're dealing with maybe the letdown of it not coming in. And so you're like, I want to go get help with this. So a lot of times when you first go to get help, you've got to go the equal and opposite. And so if you've been expelling a lot of energy, the equal and opposite that occurs in the body is a complete rest state, and it's necessary. It's almost like a bridge before we can get deep into that place, and it's really the bridge that provides this really tight-knit, humble, honorable home for you before you can emerge into this butterfly state.
And there's a lot of the light and the brilliance of the butterfly, right?
Yeah.
Captures us, right? But the cocooning stage is something that sometimes we want to look over, but that's actually in order to, and the butterfly would be what? ESR, it'd be, oh, I want to do the orgasmic wave thing, I've heard about the orgasmicness, I want that. Okay, no doubt. But like Kirti is saying, sometimes we got to go into that cocoon first, and the more that we've been in a place of kind of exhausting the feminine, exhausting the yin, or like as I like to call it, insomnia, because it also shows up that we can't even go to sleep sometimes because we've been just burning the candle at both ends, so to speak. The session may show up where we actually got to do some cocooning to begin with. I also like what you were talking about before about the protection. Yeah, if you want to go a little bit into that, about how cocooning sometimes is a thing about needing to protect ourselves, because as we know, there's a state where the feminine, and again, the feminine being an energy, not necessarily gender, the feminine in most human beings these days, it doesn't feel safe. So if you want to speak to that a little bit.
Right. So a lot of times in indigenous and ritualistic practices, you know, when we do things like protection, people think, oh, protecting from an evil spirit or something that's evil, and that this work just opens you up to all of these good and bad forces. And really, my belief is that all of those forces are really forces within our own psyche. And so when we do these protection practices, and when our body naturally goes into the cocooning state, it's not that we're in there saying, okay, now we're going to cocoon. It's really just like following what your inner divine wants. And so if it's going into that cocoon state, it's really like how mothers practice swaddling their babies, right? When they want to go to dance class with their babies, or they want to do work around the home or out in the city, and they've got their babies, they will swaddle them and wrap them. But it's not because they're protecting them from evil forces out there, but it's like a protection of holding them in tight. And really what we do, even, you know, in the world of working with children, is that when a lot of times when kids have tantrums or when they are overly exhausted, the pressure points of the tightness of the hold brings down also the nervous system. So the body naturally is doing that in the cocoon state. So it's really phenomenal that the body naturally teaches us all of the practices that we learn, and then we actually provide them for each other.
Yeah, and people who have seen it, you've seen it before. I know randomly before one time I've seen it, but those who have the sight say that it's kind of like an etheric golden
Web. Net.
That goes around people during the cocooning process. And so, yeah, and if we've ever had like a Reiki session, I believe that Reiki actually is kind of like naturally, a natural Reiki session tends to show up a lot of times as a cocooning session, where we go into a deep restorative, deep yin, deep nurturing place in the session.
I was really moved when you said that it's like the ESR, the expanded sensual response it's like the butterfly flapping her wings and the butterfly enjoying his day, you know, just like visiting flower to flower and just being a fully expressed being, which is truly what this energy work is about. Right. And I wanted to say, like, the metaphor for that for me as a performer and for the athletes out there is that it would be like if Steph Curry and LeBron James, you know, watched a whole bunch of games and were really moved by them, but really never showed up to practice, you know, and on the day of the game, they're like, all right, man, let's go do this. And they expect the team and everybody to just be like, all right, like, go
practice?
Fly.
Who needs practice?
Yeah.
Those of y'all know, AI, but yeah.
It's kind of just like, no, the cocooning phase is showing up to practice every day. And the cocooning phase is also the rest and restoration of showing up every day and accepting the days off and the break days and the treat days, right? And as a performer, you know, the cocooning is being humble and practicing and showing up to do your work, and then also going home and resting and being grateful for the work that's been channeled through your teachers to provide you with the grace and gratitude on stage. And then guess what? When you get on stage and you get to channel your teachers' teachings, and you get to channel all of the practice that you've put in, and you get to channel all of the rest and the deep integration that's happened while you rest, and then you get on stage and shine, that's the butterfly flapping their wings. And that's also when the athletes show up on game day and they're not in the stands, but they're on the court, right, with their work, and they're integrating life and family and their drive, and they're in there and they're in fully expressed mode. That's the butterfly flapping the wings. And so, you know, we truly are a reflection of nature. It does not mean that nature is separate of us, but truly what we see in nature, it's showing it up in the sessions. You know, we didn't make up the word cocooning and then see it happen. Actually, what happened was we all experienced it and talked about it, and after you do enough sessions, you start to see some themes and patterns and trends. And so this is truly, from the data we've collected from our work, that this is a real thing. So, and it's a real thing that's happening all around us at all times.
Amen. Just being in line with nature. And with that, you know, cocooning is providing the framework to align with your own inner nature. It's getting so still, taking the mind offline and asking the mind to take a back seat for a little bit so that the body can do its natural alignment. That's what
Yes.
cocooning is in a nutshell.
Yeah, once the heart and the body understand what full expression means, then invite the brain, invite the mind to come and join the party,
Right.
because the mind is actually what's helping structure all of the, I guess you could say, the frameworks. The mind is it's going to engage into the with the masculine energy to create the structures and frameworks so that the heart and the body can like really flow in those channels. And so it's going to constantly be this beautiful oscillation, and like as I'm doing this, I'm seeing the wings flapping, so that's really cool.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
And with that, we about to go ahead and fly on up out this piece.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just wanted to again talk to you about cocooning. Check out our other video that we're going to do about ESR, expanded central response. And Kirti, if you want to close out, tell them who you are and.
Sure. Well, again, my name's Kirti, and I'm with Dilse Culture. And Dilse means from the heart. So if you're interested in heart-based culture, check me out on Instagram. I am dilse.kirtidance. And if you want to check out my website and look at all of the services that we offer, you can go to my website at dilseculture.com, D-I-L-S-E culture.com.
No doubt. And I am Shofar from Faux Show Energy Work. I do coaching for couples and singles, men and women. I also do energy work with Kirti for couples and singles. I have a book, Soul, S-O-L, Sacred Orgasmic Living, and we do workshops together. We have a series, one called Hip Hop Kundalini, that we do with 2 other dope facilitators, and then we do intimate relating for couples. We actually got a new one coming up soon, KISS, K-I-S-S, Keep It Simply Sensual. And you can find us on, find me also on Instagram. And if you want any more information on this, just reach out to us to those different channels. If you like this video, please subscribe, like, and share it. And we'll see you soon. Keep shining, keep climbing.
Peace.
Peace.